Okay, a slightly harder problem for the sum of a geometric sequence. We are told the third term is 11.25 and the sixth term is 303.75, and it wants to know the sum of the first 10 terms. We need to work out what A and R is. I've written down what we know. We know that the third term, so we're using this formula, and we know that the third term is equal to 11.25. So I've substituted in what I know. N is 3, N is 3. So in other words, R to the power of 2 equals 11.25. We also know that the sixth term is 303.75. So I've substituted 6 in here. So R to the power of 5 is 303.5. So if I do our second equation divided by our first equation, so AR to the power of 5 divided by AR to the squared is equal to 303.75 divided by 11.25. So in other words, they cancel. Using my index law knowledge, when I divide, I subtract the indices, so R cubed is equal to 303.75 divided by 11.25 is 27. So R is the square root of 27, which is, the cubed root of 27, which is 3. Now I know R, I'm going to substitute, probably back into my first equation. I'm told that R is 3. So I'll just do it over here. Substitute 3 for R in equation 1. So here's equation 1. Now what I'm going to do, where I see R, I'm going to put 3. Therefore A times by 3 squared equals 11.25. Therefore 9A is equal to 11.25. Divide this by 9, cancel, divide by 9. Therefore A is equal to 1.25. So I have just found R and I have just found A. So what does that mean? Let's go back to the question. It wants to find the sum of the first 10 terms. So in other words, N is 10. So I'll add that down here. N is equal to 10. I now have enough information to use my formula, my rule, for finding the sum of a geometric sequence. Now, R is 3. My common ratio is 3. So I am going to use this rule again, because I use this rule if R is greater than 1. So let's write down the rule. Sn is equal to A R to the power of n, subtract 1, over R, subtract 1. So let's substitute in. The sum of the first 10 terms is equal to 1.25, brackets, 3 to the power of 10, subtract 1, over 3, subtract 1. So the sum of my first 10 terms equals 1.25, 3 to the power of 10, subtract 1, divided by 2. So what I've done there is just said 3 minus 1 is 2. Put that into my calculator. The sum of the first 10 terms is 36,905. So let's recap. With the information that I was given, I was able to work out firstly what A and R were. So I used this rule, and that enabled me to work out firstly what R was, and then I used that to work out what A was. I then wanted the sum of the first 10 terms, so I had to work out which formula to use. As my R was greater than 1, I used this formula. I had R, I had A, I knew it was the first 10 terms, so it was a matter of substituting in to the appropriate formula to find the sum of our first 10 terms.